Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Hanford, and my wife, Danae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. On the podcast with us today is Ryan Deeds, and he is the creative mind behind a product called Simple Text, which he'll talk to us a little bit about as we move forward. So welcome to the podcast, Ryan.
Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Ryan. We want you to start us off here and just kind of expound a little bit on where your focus is right now as an entrepreneur.
Right now, where my current focus is on, I have two main things in my life. I've got the day job, which I'm very passionate about and involved with, and then I've got my kind of side hustle, which is trying to bring products to fruition. And the one that I'm focused on right now is called Simple Text. It's just a very easy-to-use application that allows businesses to text their clients through email. So it's really an email gateway for SMS messages that's instantly available once you get a subscription.
So what are some of the tough decisions that you've had, along this journey of getting Simple Text to where it is today? What are some of the tough decisions that you've had along that? And let's start with one that maybe didn't have that good of an outcome and some of the lessons you learned through it.
Sure. I think one of the big ones was, I was passionate about Slack as a tool. I love Slack. I love the ease of codability to it. They have very good, it's just easy to write product for it. So my first product that I created that was going to be monetizable was Simple Text on Slack. And it was not the best decision because Slack, for the target market that I was going after, which is businesses, Slack is not a technology that is very widely used. And so that was a problem that I've had to overcome in the last couple of months. Because I created Simple Text, the Slack bot, put it out on Slack, got some users, but it didn't have the velocity that I wanted. Then I had to kind of make a change.
And during that tough decision process that you were making, looking back, are there certain lessons that you learned that moving forward has kind of changed the way you do things?
I think so. I mean, I think ultimately you've got to begin with the end in mind. And through the other projects that I've learned, I think the most critical is what can I actually accomplish? It's easy to dream big, but then I need to scale that back to be able to bring something to fruition under my own power. And so that's my biggest takeaway from all the building of all the things that I've built is be laser focused on what the value that the product delivers. Try to get that, just hone in on that as much as you can. And then my mistake was picking Slack as the only mechanism to distribute that product on. And so, again, figuring out where your target market, where your growth is going to come from, and then making sure that the technology that you're leveraging is leveraged by them.
So it sounds to me like you had a great idea for this technology called Simple Text, and your target market, though, wasn't using the product of Slack, which is where you kind of, develop the plugin or product off of. Is that correct?
That's correct. Slack has an app store that you can build apps for, and there's quite a few monetizable ones there. And I have about 30, 40 users that are paying subscriptions on it. It's been out for a couple months, and I've done no marketing whatsoever. But we have a ton of teams that have installed it. About 400 different teams have installed the product, but then they're not going to that next step. So I wanted to try to, and then in talking with them, their teams were not using Slack the way that I had envisioned it. So that's when I kind of had to go back and rethink what I wanted to do with it.
Sure. And so let's pivot here to a different tough decision that you've made along this journey and that maybe had a really good outcome or an outcome that was more than you had expected, and maybe some of the lessons you learned through that one.
I think so. Once I identified the Slack, that if I really wanted to try to make Simple Text work long term, I had to change it. I had to get it to a more accessible platform. So I thought about a bunch of different things. Do I create a bot that's on a website? And I kept going back to all businesses are using email. And I really didn't want to write an email integrated application because so many people that are high tech think that email is low tech. But to bridge this gap, to allow, small businesses to effectively communicate with millennials and everybody else really today that wants to do that through texting, and not just an automated way, but a back and forth where you can actually talk to a human and conduct business over text. How can I make that as simple as possible to just drop that in where there was no training? I've implemented technology for 16, 17 years of my life, and I just know that you cannot have a large learning curve. And so I wanted to make it dead simple. So I moved it over to email, and I've been very, very happy with the beta testing that's going on. I have a couple organizations that are using it. They've talked to their friends about it already because of the ease of use and because they're used to using email. And so that kind of heartened me and made me happy.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a different kind of, strategy or various strategies that you now use when facing some of these tough decisions.
Sure. I mean, I think, again, I like to plan out, okay, if I want to have 1,000 users on my product, which is kind of what my goal was, I would like to have 1,000 subscribed members and able to provide value by the end of the year. Well, a month and a half after I had released Simple Text on Slack, I knew that I was not going to be able to accomplish it through that mechanism. So then it was either, well, is this a bad idea, or does the idea have merit? And the product kept getting installed into other teams. And so every time, and I get a text message every time it gets installed. So I kept seeing these texts come through. And I'd get 4 or 5 a day sometimes that it was getting installed. And so I knew that it was a solution that people were looking for. So just then trying to figure out what was going to be the easiest thing to get into folks' hands. But I had to start with where I wanted to be at the end of the year. And was that a goal that, now that we're midway through, is there anything that I could have done that would drive that more rapidly and make that actually happen? Or did I need to readjust my goal? And so I opted for the primary one, to change the technology and see if I could then market that, get that to scale a little bit.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and hear from one of our show sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Ryan about some of his favorites as it relates to business.
Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HanfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HanfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HanfordCapital.com.
And we are back right now with Ryan Deeds, and we're going to go over the trifecta, which is our series of questions to ask Ryan about some of the different favorites that he likes in business. So first off, I want you to talk to us about your most favorite technology that you use in business that helps make your life easier.
Ignite. Ignite is my favorite business tool. It is a very, very secure, HIPAA compliant, PCI compliant file sharing system that is implementationless for my users. So I have 100 users that use this technology, and they just think it's a file share. So when they drop it into a folder, it gets automatically shared with the client, and it's all secured up, and all my compliance is taken care of. And I really, really love Ignite.
Ryan, what is a favorite quote that you've heard that's helped you as an entrepreneur?
There's one by Ryan Hanley that says, if you don't wake up every day thinking about how you can make every interaction your customer has with your business more enjoyable, more valuable, and more in line with what they want out of that interaction, then you won't have that customer for very long. And I have that on my wall, and it helps me to focus both on my business day and on my outside stuff. And
what is a book that you've read that's helped you in your decision-making or as an entrepreneur in general?
Good to Great. I mean, it's probably one that's often talked about. That and the Fifth Discipline. The Fifth Discipline talks about kind of a systemic thinking, but Good to Great is fundamental for me, and it's something that I really believe in. And core competencies, right person, right feet on the bus, all that, those different main theories that come out of that.
So Ryan, what's the next thing for you right now on your vision or your dream board?
Well, I mean, right now we're very, very close to finishing the transition to email. The service is working, but we're still working on the dashboard and the login aspect for Simple Text. So really, I'm trying to keep laser focused on that until I can put a pin in it and get done. And then I really want to play with some machine learning and some AI stuff that's using Vision API, like using Vision from cell phones. I love dealing with cell phones and texting, and so a lot of the apps that I create are a phone number that people text into, and it does something.
That's pretty cool. Well, how can our listeners reach out to you if they want to follow you or contact you after listening to this episode?
LinkedIn is always the best way. It's just Ryan Deeds and LinkedIn, and I'm there.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we put a link to your LinkedIn profile on our show notes as well, which can be found at toughdecisions.net for any of the listeners that are listening right now. And thank you so much again, Ryan, for taking some time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. And I look forward to having you on the future podcast as you can continue to grow as an entrepreneur.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for supporting us.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.